on the top of Yud Beis on Yud Beis. V'afilu tzoras bito islandus. Here we have a case of Reuven and Shimon, who are brothers. Reuven has a daughter named Sarah. She's an islandess. And Shimon knew she was an islandess. She knew that Sarah was an islandess, and he married her. And he was also married to a second woman by the name of Rivka. And he dies. And his two wives, that's Sarah, just Reuven, plus his wife Rivka, fall for Yevamot to Levi. And in this case, Sarah, who's the daughter of Reuven, is P'tura min ha'chalitu min ha'yibum because she's an islandess. Rivka Hatzara lends herself false for Yibum to Reuven, and she's not considered a tzara of an erva b'makom mitzvah because Sarah was excluded from the parsha of Yibum because she's an islandess, and the pasuk says Asher Teled, and therefore Tzoras, islandess, is Messiah Bemes, even if that islandess was his own daughter. So the Gemara asks, Ktani Shenimtzu, you asked the Kasha, but the Mishnah used the language of Nimtzu islandess, or say Mutaros, implying against Rava that only if Lo Hikerba, when he married her, that she was an islandess, then Tzoras Mutaros because Kedusha toes, and they're not Tzoras at all. Implying that in Hikerba, the Kedushin are not invalid, they're valid, and it would pater up the Tzara. So the Gemara says Tni Shahayu islands. We have to really change the text, the gears of our Mishnah should say Shahayu islands. In other words, he knew that he was marrying an islandess. He knew what he was getting into, and therefore she is his wife, and therefore Rava says that in that case, Ena Poteres Es Sarasa, and that was Rava here on Daf Yud Beis, Amud Beis, top of Yud Beis, on the top of Yud Beis, Amud Beis, Tzoras islandess Muteris. And she's P'tura min ha'yibum because she is a Tzoras islandess. And that's a case of Hikirba. Ki also Ravin, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Achas Tzoras mima'enes, v'achas Tzoras islandess, v'achas Tzoras mas rushaso, when she was Nisei Sliacher, Kulon Mutaros. Now this halach of Tzoras mima'enes, Mutaros liyibum, is against Shmuel. Because you may recall that we learned on Daf Yud Beis in the name of Shmuel that there's no Yibum in this case. 1 second. Just read it because of Xera. Oh, here it is. Towards the top of Yud Beis Amud Aleph, somewhere in the middle, it says, in the name of Shmuel, that Zera mishum tzaras bito mima'enes. Okay. Rav Lili Bar Mamel, in the name of Ukva, in the name of Shmuel, that if in addition to the Katan, he was married to another woman, and the Katana was Mima Enes in the Yavam, then the Tsaras Mama'enes is also Asura. And that's against this statement of Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that Tsaras Mama'enes is Mutaris. Now, going back to our Mishnah, the Mishnah says that in Chamoso and Aim Chamoso and Aim Chamiv, if we find them to be an islandess, that's impossible. Or Miyun is impossible because the daughter of Amema'enes only applies until she's a Gedola. And even if she was married off as a Ketana, which means the Kedushin are only D'Rabbanan, nevertheless, now that she's a Gedola, there's no Takon of Miyun. The Takon of Miyun was only established as long as she's a Ketana. Tani Rabbi Bibi, Kamei Rav Nachman, Sholosh Nashim Shamshus B'mo, Ketana Muberes Umeinekis. So 3 are allowed to use a moch, which is inserted before Tashmish, and it prevents her from getting pregnant. Ketana, Shematis Aber, V'Shematomus. She may become pregnant, and if so, she might die. Uberes, a pregnant woman is allowed to use a moch. Shema were afraid she might get pregnant from another bia without a moch. Vitasa ubra sanda. And the uber that she's carrying will be lost. And Meinika Shema Tigmal Bina. That if she'll become pregnant, then she will no longer be able to nurse her baby, and Yomus will die from starvation. Ezi Ketana, which Ketana could become pregnant and therefore die, that's Mibas Achasas Reishon of Yom Echad at Shtemes Reishon of Yom Echad, from 11 to 12. Pachos Mikan, if she's less than 11, then she would not become pregnant at all. If Yesar Al-Kayin, she's older than 12, even if she'll become pregnant, she won't die. And therefore, Meshameshes Kedarkon, Veholeches Divrei Rabbi Meir. So Rabbi Meir permits moch during that time period between 11 and 12. Chacham Omer Achazu Ve'achazu, Meshameshes Kedarkon Veholeches. Even in the case of an 11-year-old, we will not allow moch because Min HaShamayim Yirachem, God will protect us. Nemar, Shomer Psoyim Hashem. So Gemara has the following kasha. From the fact that it says in the Brisa, Shematis Aber, the Shema Tomus. She may become pregnant, she may die from pregnancy. There is a possibility that even if she becomes pregnant, she won't die. Now we have a possibility of chamoso mima'enes. Let's say she gave birth to a daughter when she was a ketana during that year between 11 and 12. Afterwards, she got married to his brother. And then Nasa Ze Esbita, this one married his daughter. And then the chamoso was Mema'enes Bi Achiv Biota Ketana. And that means in Meis Achiv below Bonim Tarasa Muteresla. Vitani Ata Yochol Lomar Vichamoso V'em Chamoso V'em Chamshinim to Islandis Oshamianu. So the Gemara answers, Ema, you should rewrite the Brisa. There are no 2 different sfekas here, but rather Shematis Aber V'Tomos, meaning in event that she becomes pregnant, she will definitely die. The Omar Rabba Bar Levoi Gvul Yeshla. There's an upper limit in the age in which she could become pregnant and die. That's from 11 to 12. Before 11, she won't become pregnant. She'll die, and the fetus will die. After the age of 12, she has simonim. Harei chaya the ubrachai. She'll survive, and the fetus will survive. Gemara asks, "Any is this really sova tani?" Rabba bar Shmuel, Iyat yochel omer b'chamosim chob shedimtzu islandus o shemeinu shekvar yoldu. It would seem that they haven't yet brought out the two siros, and yet, if she's a ketana, nevertheless she's yoledes v'chaya. And because she gave birth, then it's not shaykh miu. But according to Rabbi Bar Levi, we said before, a ketana can never become pregnant. In this brisa, it should have said that the reason why there's no possibility of Hamoso Mama'en is because she must have already become a Gedola if she gave birth. El Yolam Shematis Abra V'Shematomus. Maybe she'll become pregnant and she might die. The Ela Kashla Hach. How could the Mishnah say Iyata Yochel V'Chamoso Shemiyah? Let's explain it based on Rav Safra. Rav Safra, Bonim Harein Kisimonim. That even if she doesn't have two saras, if she gives birth, the birth itself replaces the need for two saras. And therefore, even if she's less than 12 years and 1 day, if she becomes pregnant and she gave birth to a viable child, then it's as if she brought simonim during the 13th year of her life, meaning after she was 12, she becomes a gedola, the whole davar, from the time that she became pregnant. And therefore, even if the mother of Chamoso Ketana B'Shanim, but once she gave birth, she's a gedola, and therefore she doesn't have the possibility of miut. And when Rabbi Bar Levi said that if she becomes pregnant during this period of time, she will die and the fetus will die, he doesn't mean dafka between 11 and 12. It means during the Zman before Hagadlus. Toch Hazman shehi hashona shekodem gadlusa. But if she gave birth to a Vlad Shel Kayoma, then we say retroactively, Gloy Milsa Mafreya, that from the time she became pregnant, she's already Gedola. It's like Liachar Zmana. It's no longer Rabbi Bar Levi of Misaberes Tochzman. The Isti Amri, Bonim Adifi Misimon. There's one opinion that Bonim is even more than Simonim. It surpasses Simonim. It's more than a woman who was already after 12 years old and she had Simonim. L'maynaf Gemina, what does it mean it's beyond Simonim? I mean, she becomes a Gedola. And the Gemara answers that Fil Rabbi Yehuda, this is Rabbi Yehuda's Shita Nida Dafnu Beis, Ti Omar, Ad Sheyarba Ashacha. He requires Simonim Shtei Saras of Ribuy Shachar ala Lavan, that there are more black hairs than white hairs. Nevertheless, B'banim Moda, he would concede that in the case of a woman who gives birth to a vital child, then she becomes a Gedola and she doesn't need Cyrus. Okay, and this is where we'll stop here. On the top of Yud Gimel Amud Aleph, Rav Zvid Omar, and this is going to be a third shita about a girl who gives birth, and he's not going to be willing to go as far as saying that Leidas Habonim Mitzad Atzma is going to generate godless in all situations, and he's going to divide it up into three categories, and Mr. Shem will see that. We'll see that tomorrow.